Oh my god, the first trailer for the Dragon Ball Super movie is finally here and my jaw is on the floor. I am barely keeping it together enough to actually write this video. This is everything I have been fighting for the past few years. I have wanted so badly for Dragon Ball to either modernize itself or head in a looser, more contemporary direction, or just go back to what worked so well in the past, and this trailer has just shown that we're getting the best of both worlds. We've got Shintani, Tate, Takahashi, Onishi, and so much more. There's so much to unpack here just on the animation front, not even touching on the final details like the composite, the CG, and the overall direction. Before we dive in though, I have to play you my reaction from the live stream, just so you understand how over the moon I am. This is genuinely phenomenal. It's one of the most exciting things I've seen from the franchise in years, and it's coming in a Broly movie of all things. Enjoy.
Holy fuck!
Broly is just
What?
nuts.
What?
Oh my god.
What?
That is insane.
Takahashi.
Oh, Jesus. Well, now you know why this video is a little bit late. It took me a while to actually calm down enough to be able to write sentences. So, right. Composure. Let's actually go through this step by step and touch on absolutely every reason why my reaction was totally warranted. From the opening scene, we have what looks to be a fairly on-model based Goku, and of course, on-model now means sticking to Shintani's design sheets, though this is slightly different and more like the original poster. You can see this has incredibly minimal shading and loose line work. I absolutely adore the chubby hands. They're very reminiscent of Tate, and there's just so much expression. I know that their aim with this film is to put an emphasis on motion in all aspects, not just action, and considering Goku just eating a spoonful of jelly, I guess, has this much expression is a pretty terrific sign. It definitely seems like that's what they're going for. In the next scene, we have our first look at Bulma with Shintani's designs, and she's looking great as expected, with a very thick inky line work that we'll touch on in detail a little bit later. This approach really feels like Toriyama's artwork come to life, and that's something that's been sorely missing in the franchise for quite some time now. We cut back to Goku and we get to see the final look at the color palette they've gone for with his clothing. His gi is actually more orange here compared to the teaser that was a little more yellow in color, though the blue is pretty much the same. We kind of figured this would be the case since the design sheets that came out were orange in color too. I'm absolutely fine with either take. I'm just so glad that we've moved away from the red hues. I've never been a fan of those personally. It does seem that facially most of what we saw in the teaser was accurate, so Ryo Onishi going uncorrected there suddenly makes sense. Unfortunately, that does mean the noses aren't quite what I was hoping for, but like I mentioned in my character design overview yesterday, they're significantly smaller and nicer shaped in comparison to what we've had. Considering who we see later on in this trailer, well, it's probably not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. Next up, we have Beerus, who's looking pretty similar to his old self. Yamamuro didn't really alter Toriyama's design in the first place, so this isn't too surprising. Really, he's just been rounded off a little bit where he was angular before, but otherwise he's about the same. Piccolo, on the other hand, has had a big change, and I'm so happy for that. This is really just hammering home exactly what I said in the first character design reveal. The large chubby face is gone, replaced by a slimmer face with a very large eyebrow sticking out beyond the edges, adding a stack of depth. You've also got his big old elf ears back in action. This is the best Piccolo has looked in years. The inky line work with an emphasis on varied line weight really drastically helps how convincing the folds in his cape look. Everyone who is tired of the glossy, sterile approach should be rejoicing right now over this decision. It seems almost identical to what was used in Toei's Tiger Mask W series, so if you're looking for an extensive preview of the benefits of that technology, then definitely give it a look. It's also really well animated, so check it out anyway if wrestling is your thing. In the next scene, we get another look at Bulma, this time in some funky-looking spacesuit. We were told in advance that Shintani's girls were going to be incredibly cute, and this totally sells it. She's an adorable little blob thing. Her cute little chubby hands are just a delight. I'm going to keep talking about chubby hands, and to be honest, while I could sit here and try and convince you I don't have some weird hand fetish, you probably wouldn't believe me, so I'll just live with that and move on. We get some quick cuts of some new Frieza underlings, the first of which we've never seen before, while the second is the character from Dragon Ball Minus that we got a design sheet for a little while back. We don't have anything to compare them to, so there's not too much to analyze, but I'll reiterate that it does seem like Shintani wasn't really interested in changing Toriyama's approach. I'm 100% down with that, and that's only emphasized by the absolute adorable drawing of Chilai in the next scene. So much expression. Again, they are definitely making a point about Shintani's cute girls. Moving on, just before we jump into the action, we have a little close-up of Broly chowing down that, to me, looks like Tate considering the mouth shape and timing. Since this film is largely very soft anyway, there's not a lot to go on, that's not a definitive guess or anything, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised. Okay, now for the big one, the thing the vast majority of the fanbase was looking forward to. It is, of course, Yuya Takahashi, and he is all over this trailer. And I'm not even a little bit surprised. I actually have to be honest, I was told months ago that he would be an animation supervisor on this film, but I was forced to sit on that information until it was incredibly obvious because I didn't want to get him in trouble. I can talk about it now though, thank God. Yes, he is a supervisor and it seems like he's all over this icy section of the film. If you're not aware, you have your top supervisor, in this case Shintani, who helps streamline the visuals of the entirety of the film, while the supervisors under him are designated different sections, so yeah, it does seem like this icy spot is Takahashi's realm. He's largely ignoring the character sheets, which is actually fine by me, and I think fine by absolutely everyone on the planet. Much like his work on Super, he's all about the Buu arc and those Yamamuro Z movies, and you can see that all over this section. Broly in particular, as he walks out of the ship, has that long face and extended neck from his original appearance back in the day. Takahashi is also not shying away from his complex shading whatsoever. There are two stunning close-ups of Goku and Vegeta here, and this is exactly what I was talking about when I said that Shintani's designs are versatile. You can take Takahashi's Broly and compare it to Onishi's later on, and although they have different approaches, there's a visual consistency there. You see this in shows like Mob Psycho and One Punch Man 2, which swap from serious to loose without it ever feeling jarring. Next up, the action begins as Paragus swipes his arm and Broly goes wild with a Shida-esque head movement. In fact, the hands in this scene do look a lot like Shida's, but I'm not 100% convinced it's actually him. It's obviously got Takahashi's touch all over it as far as the style goes, but even the timing feels really alien for Shida. It's a little bit strange. Overall, it is a fantastic scene though, with great exaggeration in the eyes and neck. We've got intense, smeary line work, and of course the punch that lands on Vegeta into the most amazing smug grin that just fills me with so much joy. I love Vegeta so much. As he gets smashed into the ice, we get a billow of smoke, and if you've been a sub of me for a while, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say. It's not blurred, thank God for that. I was so sick of great effects being ruined by obnoxious compositing. In fact, that is a running theme that I'll cover a little later. But for now, we have my boy, my favourite, the man I talk about way too much. It is of course Naoki Tate animating Frieza versus Broly. You've got smears, you've got his trademark line work, and when they collide you get magnificent effects and two fantastic impact frames, one of which actually reminds me a lot of his work on Super Episode 26 of all things. Unfortunately, it does seem like they've decided to convey the heat from, I guess, this volcano or something that they're stood in by blurring things, so unlike the last scene, Tate's smoke is masked a little bit towards the end of this cut. We get some more from him too, as Frieza stumbles back. This is Tate all over, from the lovely chubby hands to that line work again, along with the amusing little pose. Tate was missing in action for months, so it was pretty obvious he was going to be on the film, but I am so overjoyed to see him confirmed. I really hope he's also a supervisor and doing stacks of work, because like I've been saying, these designs are just made for him. Moving on, it is Ryo Onishi's turn, the man behind the teaser trailer and arguably Dragon Ball's finest bit of animation, an episode of Bardock of all things. He was another sure bet for taking part, but again, it's just nice to see him confirmed. This scene is incredible. It kicks off with a shotgun blast of impact frames before flowing into his trademark effects with buttery smooth timing as Goku flies into the camera. Broly's follow-up is pretty much one-to-one with Goku's punch in the teaser, right down to the exaggeration in the eyes. After a quick glimpse of yet more stunning Takahashi artwork, we get a little preview of Super Saiyan God, and in fact, they actually revealed the design sheet for this form at the panel, along with all of Broly's forms and even Vegeta's. Yes, not only will Goku be rocking Super Saiyan God again, but Vegeta also has a God design and will of course be making an appearance in the film. He actually also has a Buu arc design, making me wonder just how many eras is this film going to cover. As expected of Shintani at this point, all of these designs look absolutely stunning. I'm so in love with Broly's dark haired orange form thing, it's just so menacing, I love it. Moving on, they decided to show us some CG, which I was kind of surprised by. It took a split second for me to actually notice it was CG, so that definitely bodes well for the final product. They've applied the sketchy line filters to the models themselves, and I think the simplistic designs in general have definitely helped. It's not the greatest thing ever, I do think there'll be issues with clothing folds, particularly in the legs, you can kind of see it there, but at the very least it is a huge improvement over the last film, it actually blends for once. Next up, we have what I consider probably the most fascinating part of the trailer, and that's this strange scene with two Saiyans, one wearing what looks like Kaba's traditional wear. What makes it so interesting to see is that it barely looks like Dragon Ball outside of the outfits. The line work is way more wispy and the color choices are so unconventional. It's got me really excited about Nagamine's direction if we're already seeing this type of unique atmosphere. And speaking of atmosphere in general, this next scene is playing around with all kinds of different colors. This is actually the scene that has me 100% happy with the compositing. Despite all of these crazy colors and CG effects, the animator's original drawings aren't compromised. I'm fairly sure this is Ryo Onishi again, just based on the effect shapes towards the end, though the start kinda looks like Yuichi Hamano's really angular work. You might remember it from Battle of Gods. Either way, what's cool is that rather than blur and compromise the interesting shapes, they've used them to mask out the CG aura and then added a subtle glow that's preserved that hard edge. It's led to this very modern look without actually harming the animator's intent. Again, after Super and the previous movies that butchered so many scenes, it's amazing to see this approach. Next, we get a look at Super Saiyan Blue, and this is really weird to look at. It kind of looks like Hiroyuki Itai. It's basically just someone sticking to Yamamuro's old sheets instead of Shintani's. It's a really jarring shot in the middle of everything. At the very least, it does give us a look at the new way auras are handled, and I am over the moon, to be honest. It's super subtle, and actually, instead of random bits of CG glitter floating around, the aura is animated with interesting shapes pulsating up with the aura around it. Considering these shapes are really nice, look a little bit like Onishi's, and Itai has never shown anything like this before, I do wonder if this means Onishi is a supervisor. Considering he animates this absolutely monstrous explosion of power right at the end, and is all over this trailer in general, it really wouldn't surprise me. The final shot has so much scale, and it's a nice way for Nagamine to sign his name off and really just assure everyone that this is going to be one hell of a film. I'm really still trying to pick my jaw up off of the floor. I had massive expectations for this trailer, and they've just been blown out of the water. While I certainly would have appreciated a more carefully considered edit with a balance on character and action, I'm also 100% okay with this assault on the senses. They clearly wanted to make a big impact on the fan base, and I really think they succeeded. We probably won't get another trailer now until late October, possibly November based on previous trends, so I'm going to be replaying this thing over and over, just soaking in every little detail. Please let me know down in the comments section below what your thoughts were on this trailer, were your expectations met, exceeded, were you someone who doubted these designs, and if so, how do you feel now that you've seen this final product? I've made my feelings clear, so let's open up the floor to you. I'm gonna go calm down, so for now, be sure to rate the video, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you next time.